Hey everybody, this is another group coaching phone call for the Multifamily Investing Academy Masterclass program. This is the first one of a new year. Happy New Year, everybody. And so I've got a couple of housekeeping things I wanted to get cleared up and so that everybody can understand what's going on. One thing that the topic of this particular group coaching call is the value add propositions. You've heard so many people talk about, oh, I want to buy a property that has a value add proposition. And I realized that as I was going through a lot of my training material, I really hadn't focused too much on value add discussions. So we're going to have that here today. If you have any questions, type them into the question box. If you would like to have an open conversation with me, just raise your hand, and then I will ask you, if you're raising your hand, to have want me to take you off mute, and we can talk directly. Otherwise, I want to get your permission before I open it up to you, because this is a recorded call. You can always find these on the membership site. The amount of material that is up there is amazing. I've got a whole new dump of resource and archives material that will be happening this month. So stay tuned. You'll see the that new red wording. Whenever I put up a new document, I always have the red new wording on there. So let's get started, and the first thing I want to do is tell you, ask you the question, what are you reading? Obviously, New Year. This is one that was a book that was heavily promoted recently. If you get these types of emails, it's called The 12-Week Year. Get more done in 12 weeks than most people do in 12 months. And I got it on Audible, and now that I'm working up kind of between my office here and up in New Hampshire, based upon my father's practice. I've been listening to this particular book on Audible, and I got to tell you, it's pretty good. I really like what the guy has to say, and I like the focus that he has. I'm not through the book yet, but I highly recommend you might, if you're looking to shake things up in the way that you do things, this might be a good start for you. I mean, it's all about execution. We can all sit there and plan all day long, but if you don't execute, the plan is absolutely meaningless. So in this particular book, it kind of works well for me. I've never been successful looking at my goals on an annual basis. It just doesn't work for me. And this guy talks about that throughout the course of the book, and every time he does, it's like, yeah, that's exactly the way I feel about, you come down in November and you think, wow, I had a lousy year because I didn't achieve all these objectives. And, well, geez, had we broken the year up into 12 weeks and just focused on 12 weeks, every 12 weeks you get another fresh start. You don't have to wait for the end of the year to start all over again. So I really am enjoying this book. I'm recommending it to you. I'm not all the way through it yet, but you've got to execute. You've got to execute the plan, and this may be helpful to you to get done. Okay, so one thing I want to tell you about that I'm planning for this year that's going to be new with the Multifamily Investing Academy is the Masterclass Elite Mastermind program. Now, this is kind of at a higher level than the training that you're getting through the Masterclass Elite program. And let me explain to you exactly what it entails. First off, what it's going to be is when you sign up to be in the Mastermind program, you're going to be placed in a group of approximately 6 investors, no more than 6. So you're going to be in a group of people that you will get to know, you will work with. They will be your little microcosm of investors, and you'll be able to bounce ideas off of, work together with, either pick markets or what have you. But I can tell you that we're going to maintain it in very small groups. So every time we get 5 or 6 new people, we're going to set up an investor group, and that's part of this that becomes your main mastermind. Now, obviously, we're going to have within that 6. We are going to have bi-monthly phone calls with me. So there'll be 7 of us on the call, and we'll be going through everything. And the biggest thing about it is there will be accountability. You will have to do work. You can no longer sit back and watch these videos or sit back and wait for the next group coaching call. You have to bring things to the table that you've completed, predominantly making offers, getting out there, seeing property, sharing what you've learned, but you will be working in this mastermind program. You must be making offers. I haven't decided how we're going to do this, but you got to be making offers. When you're in this mastermind group, you've just got to be making offers on a regular basis. It's almost like you show up with these 6 other investors, and everybody has to be making offers or it just doesn't work. You will learn so much from other people, and you'll find out how easy it is to actually make offers. And the thing is, you can't control the results, but you can control the action. And in this business, the only action that you can control and the only action that you need to control is the making of the offers. So when you join this group, you must be making offers. People in this program will have access to my $50,000 earnest money deposit program. So the first $50,000 of your earnest money deposit will be available to you as a member of this group. Obviously, folks, there are strings attached to it. Don't think that you're getting a free check, a blank check for $50,000. You've got to have, there are some things, some attachments to it, and I will go over that in more detail when I finally roll out the program. Hold on, I'm just going to change a little adjustment there. That might make my conversation, hold on, a little tighter. Okay, hold on a second. Let me go put it back. There we go. Okay. And then finally, you're going to have access to my network of key principles. So that means that if you get a deal going and you look like it's going to be a hot deal and you want to get this thing started, we're going to put together the LOI for you, the purchase and sale agreement for you. We are not acting as your counsel, but more importantly is I'm going to roll out your deal to my network of key principles so that you can make sure that you get qualified for the deal. So it's really, it brings you to the next level of this training. And that's the way I've always wanted this program to work. But here's the catch. The only way that you can be invited into this program is by having been in the Masterclass Elite program for at least 6 months. You cannot just jump into the mastermind program. I don't want you. I don't want this program to be set up this way. If somebody sees, hey, wow, that mastermind program looks great, I want in, and then I tell you, well, you've got to be in the Masterclass Elite program for 6 months. Oh, no, I tell you what, let me pay you up front for those 6 months, and then, I'll join the Masterclass program right away. I said, no, it doesn't work that way. It's not about the money. I want to make sure that this is the right program for you. I want you to understand how I operate and how I find deals and how I teach my clients to build this business, and it takes time. I mean, you can be doing everything that we're going to be doing in the mastermind program on your own in the first 6 months of this program, but I want you to take it slow. I'm done with the flashes in the pan. You got to be committed to this business, and once you are, this is the greatest business in the world, but you've got to take the time and learn the business. Now, this is the reason why I am setting up my program this way is to kind of show you the difference between most of these coaching programs and why we're different. Typically what you see is you go to a weekend seminar and the guy starts selling you a coaching program, $15,000, $25,000 coaching program, and as you can see here, early on in the endeavor, you write a huge check. And the cost is all up front. And as time goes on, you lose interest in the business, you find out it's not for you, and you've got a $25,000 credit card bill that comes due, and you're scratching your head thinking to yourself, geez, did I just waste time on this program? I just lost all my money. I don't want to be like that. This is the way I want our program to work. You start out with a little bit of money, and you just take time building and learning and growing. And as you start to move through the process, you're going to have to spend a little bit more money. But by then, you're comfortable with me, you know how I operate, you know how accessible I am, and you know that this is the business for you. So what's the cost? Typically, the way I think it's going to work is it's going to be a 6-month commitment. You can't just jump in and out of this program like the Masterclass program you can. You got to be committed to it. So it's going to be a 6-month contract. I think initially, for new people, it's going to be about $497 a month. For a 6-month period, no upfront cost. I'm going to hit your credit card every month, that type of thing. But the thing is, there'll be a special deal for current Masterclass members. So if you're in the program now and you want to buy up to the Mastermind program, and I'm going to give you a special deal. You know, you're going to have a chance to take advantage of it, but then once it's done, it's done. But you're going to be one of the first people in the masterclass program, in the mastermind program, and you know, it's kind of my way of saying thank you very much for your business. I appreciate your early adopter of my masterclass program, and I want to move people up and not break the bank and give them a break on the amount. So that's what we have coming up. It's going to be ready in about a month or two. I've got to take care of some business here, personal business here after the death of my father, and so I'm going to be doing that over the next month or so, and then I'm going to be rolling out this program. So let's get started now on the value add propositions. Now, I think it's important that you understand this, an acronym, HIPAA, and I don't mean the Health Insurance Portability and Affordability Act of 1995 or what have you. I mean this particular acronym, High Income Producing Activity. Now, this is an acronym that you should be thinking about in all of your endeavors, in all of your business. What is it that you can do that generates the highest amount of income and that you can get instant results for? So let's take a look at it this way. The HIPAA concept relates to both the business as well as your personal, and in our case, as well as the property. Now, it's easy to go down a profit and loss statement and say, I can do better here, here, and here, but you have to understand your time is very limited. So you've got to make the most of every value-add proposition. So you can sit there and look at a profit and loss statement and think, I can fix the payroll, I can fix the utilities, I can do this here, I can do that here. But let's be realistic here. You've got to understand your resources and the limitations on your resources. So once you understand the limitations on your resource, then you realize, geez, I better focus strictly on those things that are the highest income producing activity. It doesn't mean it's the easiest thing for you to do or the thing that's going to happen that you're going to be able to resolve the fastest. No, there are some things within every business, within every multifamily business that you can work at that will, if you fix it, it will increase the value of your business exponentially. So those are the types of activities that you want to focus on. And then, of course, you've got to make sure that you see that activity to completion. If you don't, you have just wasted all of that time and resources trying to take advantage of a value-add proposition that never amounted to anything. So always keep that in mind when you're thinking about how can I make money here, how can I make this property run better, what can I do to increase the value of this property the fastest way possible, and you think about HIPAA, your highest income producing activities, okay? Now let's talk about some sample value-add propositions. Obviously we all understand increasing rents. Everybody understands that increasing rents is going to be the biggest one. Now, let's think about this for a second. When we say increasing rents, are we really just talking about increasing the rents, or are we talking about increasing the income on the property? Because remember, it doesn't matter based upon the net operating income whether the dollar comes from an increase in the rents or the dollar comes from an increase in the other income. It does not matter. That number will drop down to your bottom line and be capitalized. So keeping in mind the HIPAA concept, what is going to be the highest income producing activity by increasing your income? Should we just go about increasing rents? Is that it? Are we maxed out on all the other sources of potential income? Maybe they don't even exist. So we don't even have to focus on increasing other income. Or maybe increasing other income is going to be a lot easier than increasing the rents. But easy is not what we're always looking for. We're also looking for the highest impact. So let's take a look at some of the things that might make up this particular increase. You know, pet fees. Maybe they're not charging for pet fees, pet deposits. That's a very simple one that you can take care of every time the lease renews. You fix the lease so that it's covering pet fees and pet deposits. Now, cell towers. Did you think about putting a cell tower on your property? Does it work? Can it fit? There's a guy out of Nashville, Tennessee, another former lawyer, who all he does is negotiate contracts for apartment complexes for their cell towers. That's great other income. I know a guy that was trying to sell a property. It was a dog. He was losing money on it all the time. But then somebody told him to put a cell tower on the property. Now he won't unload the property. The property is going to hell in a handbasket, but he doesn't care. He's making as much money on that cell tower than he could ever make on the rent, and he doesn't have to do anything for it. Other things are water bill back systems where you decide, hey, you know what? The water is just killing me, and I need to go back and increase the rents. I remember one time I had this particular property manager on one of my properties. She was kind of a pain. You know, everything with her was a drama. And I thought to myself, I got out of the insurance business so I didn't have to deal with these types of dramas. Now I've got a property manager in that same property, and you never know it was the same property because everything runs smoothly now. But this particular property manager, she was lazy. And I said, listen, we got to go up in the rents. We're at 96% occupancy, and we got to do something. She goes, oh, we can't go up in the rents. People will move. Like, well, where are they going to go? There are only 3 shows in town, and they're all at 96% occupancy. Why can't I increase the rents? Oh no, you can't do it. People will be so mad. Well, what if I charge $25 a month for a water bill back? She goes, oh yeah, we could do that. That would work. And I just sat back, that's one of those palm plantings with your head where you're just kind of, throwing it back there saying, you got to be kidding me. You mean I can increase the rents? I can't increase the rents, but I can get water, $25 for water. Who cares? Yeah, I didn't care either. But I ended up getting it. It worked. It was a way to increase the income on the property without increasing the rents. And then we have vending machine money and MTM. MTM is month-to-month tenancies, and that is a way that if somebody does not want to sign a 12-month lease, well, then their property, their units have to be be charged a premium. That's just the way it goes. So let's see. All right, next we have market surveys. If you're going to increase the rents, what you have to do is survey the markets. You can't just go up on the rents. You got to figure out what your competition is doing. Guys, I'm telling you, so many new investors, and listen, I'm guilty of it. It happened to me. We went and increased the rents on one particular property without doing a market survey, and we got killed. People moved. You have to understand the elasticity of the rent based upon the market that you're in. What does that mean? You got to figure out how far can I push rents on an annual basis before people say, forget it, I'm moving. Sometimes it's as low as $10 a month. Most tenancies, you can't go up $100 a month. People will walk. So you've got to do a market survey before you figure out exactly what your new rent number should be. Otherwise, if you increase the rents too fast, people will move, you'll have high turnover costs, and everything that you try to achieve on that property by increasing the income will have failed. How much can you increase the rent? That's something that you need to think about. Now, another sample value add proposition is to decrease the vacancy. Well, that sounds crazy. On one side, we're increasing the rents, and the other side, we're decreasing the vacancy. Well, here's what I mean. Before you decide exactly what the, whether you can increase the market vacancy or increase the occupancy on your property, you first need to know what the market vacancy is. What does that mean? Every submarket has a market vacancy. You can typically find this type of information in a report like with Marcus and Millichap. You go in there and they will tell you exactly what the market vacancy rates are in a particular submarket in a metropolitan statistical area. So once you know what the market vacancy is for that submarket that you're looking to own in, then you compare that number to the existing market, the existing vacancy rate on the property. How does it compare? Are you right in line with the market? Well, if you're right in line with the market, then decreasing the vacancy is never going to be a value add proposition, because you can't do any better than the market. You might be able to do better than the market, but don't go out there thinking that you will, especially if you're looking to raise private money. You got to look at that investor in the eye and say, hey, this is where we're going to make money in this property. And if you start using pie-in-the-sky projections like that your market vacancy, your vacancy is always going to be higher than the market, you'll lose credibility right away. And the other thing is you need to understand the difference between physical and economic vacancy. Now, I'm going to talk about economic vacancy in the next slide, but let's talk for a moment about physical vacancy. Physical vacancy are the heads in the beds. It's cleaning out the bad blood. You know, and the thing is, you shouldn't just walk into a property and start cleaning it out. I've had so many third-party management companies approach my properties with just that mindset. Oh, we're getting rid of the bad blood. Well, you know what? That bad blood may have been bad blood, but they paid their rent every month, and I need that rent. And so the property management company doesn't see it that way. They just want to have a nice, easy property where they can train those tenants to be great tenants and they won't have any problems going forward. Yeah, that's great, and that's what we all want, but you know, it's going to take time. You can't do it right away. And as I said, it's not just the heads in the beds. You've got to screen your new tenants very well. You want your business to have very good customers. And you've got to take the time to find the right customers. You've got to train your customers on how to be good customers. Now, increase collections. Another value-add proposition to increase the collections. Well, you know, this is where we're talking about the economic vacancy. Economic vacancy falls into a couple of different categories. Physical vacancy is heads and beds. Economic vacancy is hands and wallets. And what's happening, the higher your economic vacancy goes, the fewer hands are going into the wallets, meaning you got bad debt, meaning you get people that are delinquent, meaning you're having to evict a lot more people. So whenever you speak to a broker and ask them what the vacancy is of the property, 9 times out of 10, they're going to give you strictly the physical vacancy. But what you really need to understand is the economic vacancy as well, because those people aren't paying. It's like there's nobody there, except there is somebody there. And that means you can't release their unit because they're still there. And that means that they're using your utilities if you're an all bills paid property, and they're costing you even more money. And that's why we want to make sure that we get the right tenants in there initially. The other thing is, and this is very, very crucial, is understanding how to increase the collections on a property. Now, just think about it this way. You, as the owner of the property, as the manager of that property, you must create a culture of collections. What does that mean? That means that when somebody first moves into the property, they know that there's a sheriff in town and he wants to get paid in the first of the month. So don't be late. If you're late, this is what's going to happen to you. And you lay it out for the person. We're going to hit you on the second day. You're going to be charged a penalty. On the 5th day, there's going to be a notice posted to your front door. All your neighbors are going to know that you're behind on your rent. And then we start eviction proceedings on the 10th of the month. And that means for you folks, if you're doing this, you got to stick to it. Every single month, you're going to make sure that that you're posting those signs, that you're hitting people with the late fees, you're evicting people who haven't paid you within a certain amount of time, because paying rent on time is part of this culture of collections, and you're going to train your new customers as to exactly how you want to do business with them. So the other thing is, you just cannot hesitate to evict someone. You cannot treat anyone differently. Your eviction process must be standardized, and just like that lady justice, and as we say, as you can see, she's blindfolded. She can't tell the difference between one tenant versus the other. She has to treat everyone equally. That's how it has to be done when you're evicting people. And also, just don't forget, there's another nice picture of the Lady Liberty. It's also amazing the images you can find on the internet. Scary dude. All right, let me just check here for questions. Make sure that let me just blow it up here. And okay, audio is cutting in. Okay, I can hear now. All right, good. Looks like everything is going right along with the sound. Good. See some familiar names on there. Hello, everybody. All right, another sample value add proposition is, when you're looking at the profit and loss statement, you're going down it, you're going to see, oh, I can cut the expenses here, I can cut the expenses here. It's kind of important to understand what you really can do, how you need to cut expenses, and what you really are not going to be able to do. And remember, it goes back to that concept of HIPAA. What are the highest income producing, highest impact performing activities that you can do in order to take advantage of it? Now remember, we talked about increasing the income. You increase the income $1, that's the equivalent of saving $1 of expenses. So we're going to look at the income side as well as the expense side and get the same type of results to the bottom line. Now just understand, expense creep is very real. I just did a comparison between 12 months of last year between one of my properties and the same time 12-month period this year, and I compared the expenses. I got to tell you something, folks. I was really impressed with the fact that many of the expenses that we had last year were virtually identical to the expenses we had this year. So the expense creep was not that bad. But there were some places, health insurance, payroll. Now, payroll actually stayed the same. It was health insurance and taxes were where we had the expense creep. And a lot of times, there's nothing we can do about that. In those types of things, I am running that property as bare bones as I possibly can. But you've always got to understand expense creep. You've got to create a budget and stick to it. And that's what we've done is that, and the fact is, it's kind of easy. When the property is running very tightly, it's easy to stick to a budget. You don't have any money. You pay for those things that you absolutely have to pay for on a regular basis, and then other things, as money comes in, you're going to get it taken care of. So, I'm not here to tell you all of my properties are running at, 20% cash on cash return, because they're not. Expense creep is very real. Create the budget, stick to it. Don't believe what a contractor tells you. Chances are very good you don't have to recarpet the entire unit. I mean, you'd be amazed. A lot of these guys come in there as third-party contractors, and they say, okay, we're going to come in there, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and they really take advantage of you. You are in control. Stay in control. Don't overspend for anything, and make sure, hey, this unit, we can just steam clean these carpets, and they'll be fine. I had one guy went into, we wanted to rip out every single carpet and have it replaced. I'm like, you just can't do it. Just don't do it. You've got to run these businesses like it's your own personal budget. Now, the other thing, and this is key, is hire staff that can solve problems on their own. And when you do that, you're going to watch your contract services expenses drop significantly. And that was a huge thing for me. I mention this all the time, where I had one property manager that all he knew how to do was hit speed dial on his phone, call every contractor in town to come fix his problems. And then I hired a property manager who could get out there, a maintenance man who could get out there and fix his own stuff. He knew how to use Freon. He knew how to recharge the AC. I mean, I watched my expenses drop significantly. So just by hiring the right people can really help to reduce your expenses and save you a lot of money. So maybe it could be penny wise and pound foolish if you go out there and hire an inexpensive employee, but it ends up driving up your third-party contractor costs. So maybe it's better off to hire the guy that's more qualified, and he's going to keep your costs lower. Let me tell you some folks, that has happened to me over and over again. It's worth it to pay for good people. All right. So that is really it as far as the value add propositions go. I mean, there's so many others, different types of value add propositions. If you want to write them down in the question box and ask me about them, I'll be more than happy to touch upon them. And also I just want to make sure that you understand to make sure that you register for the Masterclass Offer Writing Workshop that's going to be happening next Monday. What we're going to be doing in that particular class is we are going to be going through Doug Rutherford's software, but not the part that everybody uses. We're going to be going into the making of the property package and showing you exactly how to set that up. A lot of people don't understand how to do that, but I'm going to show you how that particular software takes you right from the beginning to the end. We're going to use an actual property to do it. I think next month, and I really try to push for this, is if you've got the ability to, if you've got some properties on your own that you want us to take a look at live on the offer writing workshop, please send them on in and we'll get them taken care of. So let me check for questions, but this is going to be wrapping it up, obviously, you know, and if anybody needs anything, let me just shoot you info at multifamilyinvestingacademy.com. Just go ahead, shoot me an email. I just put it up there on the chat box, and I will be more than happy to, you know, help you with any questions. I know that a couple of times, you know, you send me over a question, you put your cell phone number on there, you're going to get a call from me. I want to make sure that I speak to you, that you understand what's happening, and that you don't make any mistakes. So that is it for this particular masterclass group coaching call. If anybody has any deals that they're working on that they need my help with, just shoot me over an email. That's what I'm here for. I walk you through the process. I have one particular actually client on this call who is probably hoping that I stay late tonight to look at his purchase and sale agreement that he sent in. He's got an accepted LOI and he needs some help with the purchase and sale contract. And I will tell that particular masterclass student that I got 2 hours of sleep last night. I'm dying. I will look at his contract first thing tomorrow morning, and I will get over my my comments and changes. I hope he knows who he is as I mention this. So, all right, everybody. Hey, it's been a good time. Let's make this a really good year. 2015. You know, do it in 12-week chunks. You can get a lot accomplished. Remember, it's all about activity. It's all about making sure you make offers. That mastermind program is going to keep everybody accountable. That's why I think it's going to be a good next step in your development. But that's it. And I look forward to speaking with you all in next Monday. Okay? Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.